joining us on the program now from the Integrity Institute, Dr. Bryce Edwards. Bryce, kia ora, good morning.
Maureen, Andrew.
This is in the impossible category, isn't it, given the amount of spending on infrastructure, on hospitals, on defence, yet at the same time needing to curb government spending. It's impossible to do both, isn't it?
Oh, the job of a finance minister is always tough. You've just got so many different needs to push money into.
Yep.
You've got so many different economic or parts of the economy that you're going to affect by your spending that you have to be careful about. You have to think about levels of taxation, debt, inflation, all the different ecosystems, if you like, that are affected by every little shift in your budget. But it is a particularly difficult time, I believe, for being Minister of Finance. And I don't think I would want to be in Nicola Willis's shoes. And I sort of suspect that even Labour and other opposition finance spokespeople might not wish they were there either.
Yep.
She's inherited a difficult period. The world economy is in a bad shape, not helped by some of the trade war stuff with China,
Yep.
the tariffs that are happening around the world, the COVID hangover, if you like. And that is a big part of what Nicola Willis is dealing with now, especially that New Zealand has, a lot of debt that I think was pretty much necessary
Yep.
from the COVID era because they had to increase spending for various reasons. But now you can't continue to be spending more than you're receiving in income. You kind of have to get that debt down
Yep.
eventually. You have to pay it back. You have to get back into surplus. The New Zealand state hasn't been in surplus for quite a few years, and it means that you're paying a lot of interest. So I think Nicola Willis was saying yesterday that the interest payments that the government's having to pay each year, I think it was about $7 or $8 billion a
Wow.
year. So
Yep.
that's just money on the interest payments on debt. So essentially, you do have to get that debt down. You have to pay it back. You have to be ready for a rainy day.
Mm.
So economists talk about the need to have a buffer whereby if there is a major earthquake or a major biosecurity, crisis, that the state can suddenly, spend billions of dollars easily, and the economy can have that. So it's not surprising that Nicola Willis has kind of not really in the mood for good news on the economy. And so yesterday she gave her speech to, I think it was the Hutt Valley Chamber of Commerce,
Yep.
telling us, or the audience, and then us, I guess, that this is going to be a bit of a black budget, a bit of a austere one. And so the main headline coming out of this was that the operating expenses, the amount that a government will normally extend the budget by, having new spending. Previously, the government, I think, had $2.4 billion allocated for those operating allowances. And now she's decided to cut that to, I think, $1.3 billion. So she's halved that new
Mm.
spending. And so this is going to be the lowest increase for a government budget for about 10 years. I think I think you have to go back to about 2015 when Bill English did his
Yep.
last zero increases budget.
I mean, this is tough economic times, but there's a little bit of double speak on this because at the same time, in the same week, announcements of, well, hey, full steam ahead for the Holiday Highway. We've got this major infrastructure project, the most expensive one ever done in New Zealand. That's going ahead, and a $12 billion increase in spending for defence. Although I suppose both of these categories, that's not just the next 12 months budget, that is deferred spending going off over a number of different years. But the optics of it, it's saying, gosh, times are tight, but still money for defence and highways.
Well, I mean, that's the tough job of politicians having to work out what the priorities are of government. And in terms of those that transport spending, I think there's not a lot of contention around the need to put money into transport at the moment.
Yep.
There's a consensus across the political spectrum. The Greens might disagree on maybe some of the roading spend, but they pretty much agree that infrastructure does need many billions of dollars poured into it. We have an infrastructure deficit, and so you can't just cut spending and stop building things when you're wanting to save some money and get back into surplus.
Yep.
You do have to keep on investing in whether it's schools, hospitals, or roads. And there's always the problem if you do cut these things and stop spending on things like this, that it has a ill effect on the economy by
Yep.
withdrawing money. I mean, what you want to do is when the economy is kind of looking a bit dodgy, it's getting a bit going downhill, you want to actually pump in some money to get people working, get businesses spending, and so forth. And once you've got those things built, whether it's schools, hospitals, or roads, they're there with you, kind of permanently,
Yep.
and they will help the economy. And so there's some other questions about parts of the government expenditure that when you spend more, you might not necessarily be buying an asset.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't mean those things are bad. Expenditure, it could be on benefits or superannuation or whatever, or pay for public servants, but you don't really have an asset necessarily after that, a physical asset. You do with something like roads and hospitals. But then there's the defence one is kind of a whole different category.
It is totally, and with the roading, I suppose public-private partnership. So perhaps it's foreign investment, and Aucklanders on holiday are going to pay for it with tolls over a long period of time. That's what they're telling us, at least. But I suppose the optics of it, because of the two big things to spend on, surely schools and hospitals looks better than defence and roading.
Excuse me for my cough.
That's
But
right.
yes, I agree with you. And it's up to the opposition politicians to really push this. I don't really suspect that they are going to make much. Excuse me again, Andrew.
Yeah, that's right.
Just recovering from a bit of a cold. I don't think they're going to make a lot of mileage on that because they generally agree with those expenditures. Where they might make some mileage is on tax.
Yep. Just on
Especially
I'll
the decision last year to reduce taxation or have tax cuts.
Yeah, and there's already been some fighting talk on this one. I'll give you a chance for your voice to recover on this one, Bryce, because one of the big surprises in the announcement is that the proposed revisiting charitable status for some organisations and some of the tax breaks there.
Yeah.
Because if you've got to reduce your expenditure and increase your expenditure at the same time, of course, the big trick for that one is, increase your income. This could have been low-hanging fruit, but again, not necessarily politically popular.
Yeah, I think it might have been popular for a fair chunk of the population. So the idea is that some charities are operating businesses, and those businesses aren't being taxed. So the classic one is the religious charity that runs sanitarium, breakfast cereals, etc. They don't pay tax, and so the governments think, or some have been proposing that maybe they should.
Yeah.
It's not part of their core charitable business. It's not part of their religion to make cornflakes.
Yep.
Perhaps, like other breakfast manufacturers, they should pay tax. The government's decided it's a bit difficult to do that.
No, interesting times indeed, and of course, this is just the preamble. This is just the pre-title feature, as it were. We're yet to see the details of the budget, and honestly, this is probably one of the key points, that if the government can get the economy right, this will probably make the difference on whether or not they're successful in the next election. And honestly, things are looking better economically than they have done in recent months. But hey, it's a long way to go between now and the next time we get to vote in a general election. Bryce, I'll let you rest your voice. Nice to see you again.
Thanks for that.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Andrew.
Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.